So you've reached the end of the book. Yahoo! That's what the fireworks are for. It's the celebration. You're about to start on the new book, but before you do that, I feel like some more practice with word problems is always a good thing, because word problems are real life and they crop up in all different sorts of math problems. So let's take some time to really practice this skill. There is a 4-step process. So I'll just go through the title: Jousting Finale, Writing and Solving Algebraic Word Problems. I didn't say that right. So, obviously, read the problem and scan for important information. Tools you could use: you could draw a picture, you could make a chart, you could underline things, you could use translations. You probably will always use a translation, but the picture, chart, and underlining kind of differs problem to problem. But the thing that does not differ problem to problem is you must do this 4-step process. And you haven't really heard this from me before. So after you have finished this lesson, I expect that you will do this on every word problem from now on. This is a standard in all math classes, and it is really solid, good form, and it's a way to help you get the right answer and full points on any sort of question that would be a word problem in math. So define a variable. So just like you would define in English a word, you would define your variable. What does X stand for within the word problem? Or what does R stand for in the word problem? Second, write an equation. You're going to write some form of equation using the variable that you just defined. Then you're going to solve that equation in step 3. And then finally, number 4, you're going to write your answer in a complete sentence. It's a pretty important step because a lot of people will stop at 3 and then never really answer the question that's being asked. So let's do some example problems. They go from easy to the last one being the hardest, and then you'll have some practice for homework. So example 1, a number increased by 13 is -5. Find the number. So this one does not require a picture or a chart. It's basically just a translation. I don't even think I need to underline. The thing I need to do, though, is define a variable. So I'm going to say x equals the number because, and I will underline to show you what I'm referring to, it asks me to find the number. So if I want to find the number, I'm going to make x equal the number. Okay, so now I've done that. Check. Now I'm going to write an equation. Okay, so go back and I'm going to translate a number, which is the x I was referring to, x, increased by, so this part gave me x, increased by, what mathematical operation does that mean? Oh, right, plus 13 means equals, -5 is -5. Okay, I probably wouldn't have done this. I would have just jumped right to it here, but I'm just showing you how to translate. So x plus 13 equals -5. So I've defined my variable. I've written an equation. Check. Now I'm going to solve it. Subtract 13, subtract 13. This goes away. X equals -18. So I've solved it, but I'm not done yet. I need to write my answer in complete sentence. It asked me to find the number. The number, and I can even use symbols. I'm okay with that. The number is -18. Done. But you know now that you've answered the question. Excellent. Good work. Now let's move on to a harder problem. Okay. A rectangle is, so the same process is at the top here. Define a variable, write an equation, solve, write your answer in a complete sentence. Okay, example 2. I'm going to make this page a little larger. A rectangle is 24 centimeters long and has a perimeter of 72 centimeters. Find the width. Okay, so in this case, it's screaming for a picture. You really should draw a picture here. It's a rectangle. Just get a sense of what the problem is asking. It doesn't need to be a beautiful picture. Like, in fact, that's a terrible rectangle. But I get the sense of what it is. The rectangle is 24 centimeters long. So I'm going to label that 24 centimeters long. And has a perimeter of 72 centimeters. Oh, yikes. Well, perimeter means all the way around, right? So I'm just going to write that over here. So I have that information. Find the width. Okay, well, I know this is 24. I also know that this is going to be 24. So I'll label that. And I don't know the width. It's asking me to find the width, so I'm going to make that W. You could make it X, but this one's W also. So I've just defined my variable, but it's really good to do it in a sentence. W equals width. And that's the variable I'm going to use throughout my problem. Write an equation. Well, that's where it comes in here, perimeter. What do I do to find the perimeter? That's the distance around the figure. So the easiest way to do it would be W plus 24 plus W plus 24. Some people might do it a little fancier way, which is absolutely okay. We'll still get you the right outcome, but you do need to write some sort of equation for perimeter. So I'm going to write W plus 24 plus W plus 24 equals 72, because that was my perimeter. Now I wrote my equation. Now I'm going to solve it. I've got 2 W's and I've got 48. That's combining like terms. Subtract 48. That goes away. 2W divided by 2. W equals 12. Am I done? No. I need to write my answer in a complete sentence. Find the width, it asked me. So I write the width is 12. And then I don't forget my labels. Centimeters. Just 12 wouldn't have been enough. 12 centimeters. Okay, I've done my 4-step process and I'm done. Excellent. You could do a check step too, but we'll leave that for a different time. Okay, here we go. Another question. Again, as we're moving up, we've got 4. So just to keep in mind here of what's going on. So let's read the example. Nothing up here has changed. Example 3. A sandwich costs 20 cents more than a salad plate. 6 sandwiches cost as much as 7 salad plates. Find the cost of each. Okay, to me, this one doesn't scream for a picture, doesn't scream for a chart. Maybe underlining if that helps you. The sandwich is 20 cents more than a salad plate. Okay. Definitely going to use translation. So I'm going to need to define a variable. I know a sandwich costs 20 cents more than a salad plate. So I think I'm going to make my variable the salad plate. So salad plate, I'm going to make X. And sandwich, if I know the sandwich cost 20 cents more, I'm going to write 20 plus X. And it probably would be good form to do 0.20, but I'm just going to keep everything in terms of cents. Okay, so I have defined my variable. Now, I have 2 situations here that I need to define, and I did both, which is what it was asking me to do. Now the next part, which I'll highlight for you, 6 sandwiches cost as much as 7 salad plates. That part is going to be my equation. So what does that look like? 6 sandwiches. Okay, so 6 I get. Sandwiches, though, is right here. Right? So 6 times 20 plus X. That says 6 sandwiches in math. Cost as much as. What does that mean in math? Oh yeah, equal. 7 salad plates. 7 salad plate is X, so 7X, because I'm going to multiply to get the cost. Okay, I wrote my equation. Now I'm going to solve it. 6 times 20 is 120 plus 6X. Oops, I almost missed my distributive property. Equals 7X. I subtract 6X on both sides to get my X's together. I get X equals, this is canceled, 120. Okay, so I've solved. Write your answer in a complete sentence. Now here's where I have to remember that I used cents. Remember I used 20 instead of 0.20? So if I use that, this is 120 cents. So that's $1.20. So find the cost of each. So I'm going to write a salad plate is $1.20 because X equaled the salad plate. And a sandwich is 20 plus 120, so that's $1.40. Now notice if I had just stopped here, I wouldn't have answered the question, find the cost of each, and I would have only gotten partial credit. So Okay, great. One last question, and then you are off on your own. Okay, this one is the hardest one, and you may need help with these kinds of questions, and that's A-okay. So this one is going to call for a chart, which you'll see, kind of like the age problems and the distance problems. So a total of 720 people attended the school basketball game. Adult tickets cost $2.50 each, and student tickets cost $1.50 each. If $1,220 worth of tickets were sold, how many students and how many adults attended? Okay, so the reason this calls for a chart is because it's mixing number of people going to something and the cost. So this is the number of people going. This is the cost per person, and this is the total cost. Okay, so if ever you need to do some sort of multiplication problem, like rate times time equals distance, you might use a chart. Now we're talking about two different things here, adults and students. Okay, so I've just done the chart here. That's all I've done is set up a chart. Define a variable. So how many students and how many adults attended? That's my clue. So I know it's going to be somewhere in here, my variable, the number of adults or the number of students. Well, all I know is that the total is 270. So all I know is that these two have to add up. I said that wrong. These two have to add up to 720. I think I said 270, but 720. So that means I make one of these x and the other one 720 minus x, because this way I know that they're going to add up to 720. I actually could have done it the other way. I could have made this one x and this one 720 minus x, and it still would have been okay. Adult tickets cost $2.50. Student tickets cost $1.50. Okay, so now I'm going to use my chart as I did in the age problems and the distance problems to multiply. The number times the cost is 250x. The number times the cost is 150 times, I'm running out of room, 720 minus x in parentheses, and I will eventually have to distribute. So I'm going to erase this because it's in my way. So now I'm going to write my equation, because all I've done here really is do the chart and define a variable. So the chart comes in here. I've used that. This is all that's left. $1,220 worth of tickets were sold. So my total money from adults is here. My total money from students is here. That has to add up to give me $1,220. So 250x plus 150 times 720 minus x equals 1,220. Okay, if I go ahead and solve this, I will get an answer, and then I'm going to write my answer in a complete sentence. My x, of course, will be the number of adult tickets, and then I'll subtract 720 from that x to get my number of student tickets, and that will be my final answer. Okay, good luck.